Hey there, hi everyone. Peace be upon you all. A This is gonna be a glimpse introductions of a more advanced functionality when we are working with Mapinfo Professional. This is still a 32-bit versions of a Mapinfo Professional plus additional add-in so-called Mapinfo Discover. This Mapinfo Discover, uh, like many add-ins, this Mapinfo Discover add-ins, like many add-ins, will definitely add more advanced functionality than the basis, and probably this is in case probably in case this is the reason why working with Mapinfo is so special in terms of processing and managing the spatial geographical data. Well, the data displayed on screen, as you may see here, uh, this data is provided by Mapinfo when you have installed the Mapinfo Discover add-ins. I'm gonna put the folder path descriptions on screen so you can uh, follow the tutorial. Well, if you have completed the installations of Discover add-in, you'll have the Discover menu on your menu bar collections. By default, it will be located at the rightmost end of the uh, menu bar column next to help menu right here. So you can also hide it or deactivate it for a while by any reasons, by going to tools and then tool manager, right? Drop down to discover menu right here. So apparently I'm using a Encom Discover 2013 for the 32-bit 32-bit versions of Mapinfo. All right. When you uncheck the box here, you uncheck the loaded box for your Encom Discover, right? So it will hide the Discover menu for a while uh, because we are going to discuss about this advanced add-ins functionality, so we keep the menu is loaded. All right. Takes time for a while. All right, it's already there. Well, when we go to Discover menu here, by clicking it, we can see several lists of functionalities starting from a map window right here. When you click on it, it will display a submenu that deals with a map window display, such as fitting the map zoom that proportional to the your window size, that probably will not be found in standard basis map info menu, or by selecting any vector data by its graphical style. Excuse me. And drop down to map grid menu here if you want to display your a coordinate graphical or coordinate UTM on your map data, your map border. And drop down to import and export menu here that provide sort of a list of import and export set menu when we are working with a different format, different data format. And we go drop down here to the several applied area of disciplines such as data entry menu, grep menu, that probably deals with a statistics, and drill holes menu or geochem menu when you are a geologist or geoscientist or a mining engineer or anything that corresponds to geological investigations and exploration stuff. And we can also see here a image menu when you are dealing with your raster data processing and modifications. And we are also have a service menu here when you are working with your grid XYZ data. We also have a discover 3D menu when you want to provide a three-dimensional display of your data and structural symbols for you when you are a geologist or probably a cartographer, uh, a geographer that deals with a displaying some features or map attributes. And drop and we drop down to the last third part of this discover menu, that probably the most important parts of this discover menu deals with the map making, data utilities, object editing, table utilities. um, uh, Probably some of these functionalities can be found in standard basis of Mapinfo professional menu or tools. uh, for the map making, you can add some label creator and then text formatting, line annotations, uh, add lines and point labels, and so on and so forth. And then in data utilities, in terms of updating your point coordinate data, transforming coordinates and projecting it, assign values of specific attributes, uh, in object editing, when we are dealing with a vector object data modifications, such as clipping the picture objects and then inserting the node, extracting the node of an object down at polygons, uh, clip to polygon servers. And for table utilities, in terms of modifications of the table structures, such as sorting a table, multi-file open, workspace editor, save table and workspace. This is very useful menu, I believe. Open workspace advanced and so forth. Uh, well, we are not going to demonstrate all of these functionalities because it will take more time to fulfill the process. So I'm going to highlight some key features, functionalities that probably very useful for GIS users. Well, one thing to be noticed here that some of the functionality that available in Discover menu can also be found uh, or can also be employed by using a standard basis map info menu. For instance, uh, in object menu, we can modify the uh, vector objects like splitting, erase, or smoothing and unsmoothing the polygon or polyline. And then uh, table menu, we can update the column, append rows to the table, creating geocode, export and imports the data into or from different format, employing a maintenance table structure or georeferencing an image or registering an image in map info terms for exact. And in map menu, of course, we can create our thematic map, adding a legend or scale bar, change the map zoom, and so on and so forth. But there are some advantages when we are using Map Info Discover menu that probably might not be found by using or may not be available in standard basis. So uh, the purpose of this introduction video, I'm not going to uh, show you or not going to demonstrate every single of the discover menu, but I'm going to demonstrate a probably some basic tools in Mapinfo Discover that used to be used by a GIS users. Let's say Suppose you want to capture some specific area of this map, but before that, as usual, I'm going to review or evaluate what kind of the data that I'm working on. You can see from the table of contents in the layer control panel here, I get structure data and geology data, structure tables and geology table. So the structures represented by this several group of lines, and then the geological data is provided by full color uh, polygon. So we can see the table's attributes by going to window and drop down to new browser window. Seeing the browsers mean we're going to see what exactly that the attributes uh, of the table containing the table. Alright, I go to window, drop down to new browser window, or by pressing F2 shortcut on your keyboards, or we can go directly to the layer control, of course, by right click onto the table and drop down to browse table. It's similar methods. You can prefer which one, whatever you want. Alright, restore the map window so I can see the entire I can see the map and the browser window separately. Well, I guess this is kind of geological mapping data of a certain area that's situated on this planet Earth somewhere. I don't know exactly. Maybe this is in Australia or Indonesia or somewhere. I don't know. Uh, we see here from the browser window there are code column. There are three columns that's separated into code, column, description, and age. And when you restore the window, each time each time of the row represent a specific or certain object on the map or on the table. Well, for example, for alluvium, when I click this row here, by selecting the row, will be automatically selecting which object on the map that correspond to alluvium. Alright, it's also okay. It also works similarly to another rows. Alright, if you cannot see uh, which object of the selected rows, can go to the map, activate by after clicking the row on the browser window. We can go to the map window, right click on it, and then find selection, drop down to find selection right here. Alright, after clicking it, it will convey you to the which row of this, which objects of this row uh, is situated. Alright, alright. So now I understand that this is a geological data or geological map uh, of a certain location. I think this is quite detailed geological map represent a geological features of the earth structures. It's containing rock formations and then a structural geological uh, object like fault, I guess. Now we can go to the another tables called structures. I think that uh, what is this line referring to? So right click on the structure browser table. See, you can see the line type column that containing geological terms such as fold, syncline, fold, syncline, anticline, and so on. Alright, so my idea is I'm going to create a map, but not all of the uh, area that displayed on the map. Probably some specific area. I'm gonna capture it and then create a map of this area. But as much as possible, I'm going to uh, display uh, the legend or the object feature that displayed or shown on the map entirely. So let's get started. Actually, in this process, I'm going to use a combinations of uh, conventional basis map info tools and the advanced discover menu. All right, you can see the difference. You can see the discrepancy between uh, our uh, conventional map info menu during a map making process and the discover menu. You can see a kind of more uh, easier way comparing to the prior process to this that I have shared from my previous videos. Alright, let's get started. So first I want to capture this area because this area kind of look many features, or perhaps to be more uh, fancy, I'm gonna capture all of the data. So uh, let's get a new plan. Let's change our plan that I'm not going to capture a specific area of the map because it's not representing all of the data feature that shows in the uh, table browser here. So I'm gonna capture all of the browsers here and I'm gonna put it uh, as a legend, as a legend element of this map, right? So I'm going to create a rectangle to put it as a boundary for my map. So from those rectangle I can fit the map size, and then I can also tailor the rectangle with a coordinate grid. This coordinate grid will represent uh, coordinate informations of the map. So by creating rectangle, I can create a new table by using file menu and create new table, or I can also applying a cosmetic layer by allowing the editable button for the cosmetic layer to be on. Alright, so when you editing the cosmetic layer, make sure you understand that this cannot be saved into a table, but uh, otherwise it can be saved into a different format called workspace file. You can see my previous video about this subject. So let's say I'm gonna create a cosmetic layer right here. This cosmetic layer is going to be a rectangle that representing the boundary of the map. Alright, can modify the rectangle by double click on it, change the size, set the pattern fill into none. Alright, okay, hit okay. Can fit the map. So this map fitting, it's only available in Discover menu, and uh, it cannot be available a in a conventional map info tools. So after creating a rectangle here, I'm gonna fit or shrink the window to be fit in this rectangle. The reason is why you can see it there, right? So click on the rectangle and go to Discover. Alright, go to map window and drop down to fit map window to selected object. So this feature only available on Discover menu. Make sure you remember that. Alright, after clicking it, the window can be shrink or can be restored precisely or exactly as the same size of our object. Alright, I think the object is too much because it's exceeding the map area. So I'm going to adjust the rectangle first. Use your arrow button to uh, shift or move the window to different side without dragging or changing the object. Now click on the object corner and drop and drag it into the fit in to the object itself. Remember, there's no save button here because it's cosmetic object, cannot be saved, right? Another corner. Okay, it's already there. Go again to Discover, Map Window, Fit Map. Or when you have installed the Discover, you can see the toolbar that uh, represent the same functions as Fit Window option in Discover Map Window menu, right? And what am I going to do next is I'm gonna put a coordinate grid that correspond to uh, coordinate informations of the map. So go to Discover once again, drop down the map grid right here, right? Once you click the map grid, it will show up overlay map grid options that you can adjust the what kind of coordinate system you going to put in here and what features of the coordinate grid. You can put the point as the coordinate marker or edge stick like this or simply a line. I'm going to put it as a line right here. I'm not going to change the map scale well, initially. And most importantly, I'm going to check this place label in a mass polygon outside the map frame right here. This menu as it's only available in Discover, so this feature cannot be found in standard Basic Mapinfo tools, right? And I'm gonna check all of these options, left, top, right, bottom. It means I'm going to put labels squaring all of the map area. So the label will be available. The coordinate grid, the coordinate grid will be available on the top and then right and left and the bottom of the map boundary, right? When you're satisfied with the options, one more thing is you can set the grid spacing of the coordinate grid itself because the systems or map projections system called AMD Zone 51 uh, or AGD66. I think these Australian standard systems of coordinate uh, map projection. So when you're satisfied with this coordinate grid adjustment, you can click the preview first before you uh, certain with the option here. By clicking the preview option, you can see the preview of all the adjustment you've been set, all of the adjustment you've been set. So by clicking this preview option, all right, you can see our coordinate grid is created there. All right, this display cannot be found once again in a standard Mapinfo basis tools. All right, probably some of the area is kind of uh, overlapping here. Okay, you can change the grid spacing to maintain this. This grid spacing is created 5 meters uh,
away from each grid to another grid, each grid to adjacent grid. Alright, so I'm gonna change it into 1000 perhaps, to allowing me creating a spacing more wider, to create a more wider. Alright, hit the preview once again, can see the change. See, so probably this corner overlapping the edge, but I think it's fine. So when you're satisfied with the result, you can save as the grid. So the grid can be saved into a table instead of a temporary grid file. Hit the Save As button here, and then put the table same as your project locations, formatting the table locations. I'm gonna name it as a map grid 1000 perhaps. Alright, because it corresponds to our new grid spacings. We set it into 1000 meters spacing. Alright, hit save. When you're done, you can hit OK. So you have done the most important parts of map making. Alright, the next thing is probably we're gonna add of course, a scale bar and node row. The scale bar tool, this scale bar and node row tools, yeah, are available on toolbars. Not originally come from the Discover menu, but it is from the original Mapinfo menu, right? Can go to Tool Manager and then drop down to node row, I guess. Yes, node row. Set or give the checks on this loaded box for node row and then the scale bar as well. So uh, in order to put the node row button and draw scale bar button on the toolbar spell. Alright, I'm gonna put the draw scale bar first in the middle of the map, so it will be allowing me to adjust the scale bar locations. When you follow my previous video, you'll understand why I'm putting it right there. Alright, set the scale bar units, can be 800 or 1000 or whatsoever. Alright, I think it's too small. You can put it 1000 to put it wider right there, and then I'm gonna adding a node row tools. Alright, this row style is fine. Okay, alright, all is done. Okay, remember all of the object is stored in cosmetic layers, so you need to be careful when editing the objects, because our scale bar and node arrow as well as our map boundary is stored into a cosmetic layer. So hold the shift button and then hit the object that you don't want that object to be edited right there. So I'm gonna delete this scale bar here because it's too small and it fit our preference. Alright, hit the delete button from keyboards. I'm gonna upscale or resize the node arrow into to set it a little bit bigger right there, and I'm gonna move this scale bar somewhere here. Alright, to set the map to be more nice and clean right there. Alright, as well as the node arrow. Okay, next thing to do is I'm gonna put the map legends. Map legends, as I have explained in my previous videos, you can employ a standard map info menu by going to map and then create legend right here. Alright, can put a map grid, map mass, structure, and geology. uh, I'm not going to add this map grid into a map legend. So this is conventional way to create a legend, but there are some limitations comparing to our way to create legend using Discover, because it's solely uh, depends on what kind of a data that we are using, what kind of map table that we are using. You can see the difference later. Right, I just hit finish button right there. All right, so you can see the legend display here saying that the structure legend only displaying a series of lines without clear explanations about it, and the geology legend, which representing our geology table here, that also display a different color uh, that available on the map, but again, it's still not clear whether which color of which, I mean, which color representing a specific or certain rock formations, right? But it's okay. We can also create a legend using a Mapinfo Discover, but both technique can be useful in different situations, right? I'll leave this default Mapinfo legends. I'm not going to change anything, and right now I'm going to go to Discover and drop down to map making, and I'm going to create a map legend. Where's map legend here? Okay, create map legend. Right, drop down to map making and then create a map legend right there. Right. Once you hit the create map legend menu here, you can see we are prompted into a create legend pop up. So it says select tables to create legend from. So I'm gonna put geology and structure because map grid is a different things. It's not a map element. It's only a attribute that uh, it's only a standard attribute that represent a what coordinate informations displayed on a map, right? So I'm going to put structures and geology as to be a map legend element, to be a map legend, to be the elements of our map legend, right? Hit OK. Next, we're going to be prompts into this window. So in this window, we are direct to specify each of the map element, each of our table element. For example, our structure table and our geology table, and this option on the right side here, all of this is corresponds to the left elements of the legend table. For example, for structures, legend tables, the option available are for line type, because as we already know that, uh, let me close this option first. Uh, we can roll back to the option later, right? Well, from the structure a table by right click to browse the table data, the only one column in the table structures correspond to the structure table. It is only the line type, which is containing fault, syncline, anticlines, all of these structural geology terms. And uh, as well as geology table. When we browse the geology table, we can see more different column attributes or more different column structures. We have code, description, and age of the geological formations. Right. Let's get back to our legend adjustment by creating map legend from Discover menu, or you can also use the this key toolbars here. It is also have the similar outcome. So I'm going to go to the map making from Discover menu and drop down to create map legend right here. So once you go there, pick your table to be put into map legend. I'm gonna take a structure and geology as I get it done in that we haven't get it done from a our previous uh, process. So when you hit OK, you prompt to this create legend window 2 and the structure and Mapinfo asks to whether we want to set the legend column. So for structure as correspond to the oops, we cannot see the browser window because it's blocked by this map window, but it's okay. Remember that the structure is only available one column, so there's no other option there. So we're gonna leave the column 2 and column 2 and column 3, excuse me, into none or empty option. And when we go to geology option, you can either put the check into this checkbox here when you want to specify the geological formation or geological unit later on, or by not clicking it, Mapinfo will provide you a default order of the geological. Let's say I'm gonna specify the order for geological units later. And from column legend column 1 for geology, you can specify what attribute can be displayed at the first line. For example, I'm gonna put code as we already seen in the geology browser window that the code is situated or is placed as the first column, and for the second column I'm gonna put a description perhaps, or you can take age, uh, whatever you want. Let's say I'm gonna take a description first, and for column 3 I'm gonna put age, right? You may provide not as I provide it, uh, you can put it differently, right? And for legend style, because it's too many features are displayed on the map, you can choose 2 columns instead of 1 column right here. I'm gonna leave a box and legend width in terms of the width and the height and the line spacing into default option 112 here, and you can give a legend title, right, in terms of the formatting of the font size. You can do it later, right? I'm gonna put as I'm gonna type here geological unit perhaps, and tiger group formation unit. I'll leave it formations, right? So when you're satisfied with the adjustments, just hit OK. You can range the style by hitting the style to change the font size, or you can do it later. Right? When you hit OK, Mapinfo will ask you to give the table name, because when you're creating a map legend from Discover menu, comparing to the map option from the standard basis Mapinfo menu, from Discover menu in such a way the table, or excuse me, the legend is set to be saved into table, so it is editable object. All right, so can give a table name, for example, legend uh, geology. All right, whatever. When you hit save, remember at the first previously prior to this, we give the checkbox for the geology. So in this case, the map info asks whether we're going to specify the order correspond to the attributes or the rows that are available on the map info attributes or in the Windows browsers. So when you understand the geological strata in terms of a geological regarding to the geological formations in terms of the age or whatever whatsoever, you can arrange the uh, formation order or just leave it as default like this, because kind of feel bothered if I gonna back and forth like this. I'm gonna leave it as default. You can do it actually. It's quite easy. It's easier than you thought. All right. And hit OK. This is our legends, right? It is displayed here as different map window because it is not georeference. It is has no coordinate reference because it is just drawing objects, right? So you can edit the element on the map, such as the font right here. See, the table on the left side is highlighted, so it is can be editable. It is not cosmetic, right? When you want to edit the, for example, the legend title right here, you can set the editable button into on instead of off, and you can double click to the object. You can change the name, change the font style, the justification, line spacing, and then style. You want to rotate the object if you wish, and so on, etc. Right. So, what is the main difference between the method when creating the legend using Discover and conventional map info basis? You can see the map info provide a more sophisticated way to create legend map, but once again, as I said before, it is depends on the situations. You might see from the standard map info way, standard map info tools, you need to specify the legend itself once again. So you can change the title manually right there. Uh, Structures, geological structure, for instance, right? And then for the solid line, black solid line, probably it's going to be a fault, perhaps, I guess. Fault right there. And then the brown color, is it brown? Alright, can change the size. Yeah, brown, green, and black line, thin black line. Alright, the green one, I guess it's syncline, right? The green one is syncline. And the brown, I think it's gonna be anticline. Yes, it is anticline. And the last, I don't know what color it is. The brown, I think the brown also syncline, but we can hide the option as Mapinfo provide us to whether we want to hide or display the legend element, right? Legend element. But I'm checking the box right there, right? And also for the geology, Alright, you can shift the legend element down here in order to provide a space for giving the title for the legend. Alright, right click, add text frame, map legend, right there. Let's set the font a little bit a bold, thicker than the legend element. Let's see 11 or 12. Alright, map legend right there. A bit closer. Alright. Done, right? Oh, we have done yet. We need to specify the geological formation unit. Alright. The blue one is going to be this. Oh man, the cosmetic layer is active and you cannot hide it. No problem. Alright. All film gonna be that color whatsoever. Alright. The blue one is going to be, I don't know, lamp of fire. Alright. I and lamp of fire. Yeah. Lamp of, just copy and paste the text for exact format. Just right there. And so on and so forth. Alright. So we already have our maps. So what is the main difference between this default legend or where's the legend window? Alright. That the discover versions of the map legend. Well, the main difference is there are two main differences. First, the legend in the discover way, uh, the legend is set to be a table, so it is editable right there. Alright. Whereas the legend from map options, it is create legend that not editable in terms of the element, the color or the object that displayed on the legend window. But the more benefit by employing a default Mapinfo uh, standard basis tools legend maker is when you create a map with several tables in it. Alright, several tables. So I suggest you to create a table by using this method, by using a default or original Mapinfo table maker. Alright. On the other hand, when you have a uh, few tables, but the table itself has already containing information uh, that correspond to each elements or each object that display on the table, I recommend you to using the discover way, discover legend creator tools. All right. So after this, you can create our layout and print it or produce our map. Go to window, new layout window, and done. Right, you can set the orientation by go to file, page setup, and change the paper size, set into landscape, for example. uh, Click and drag your map. Okay, well, it is displayed here a default map info legend. We remember we want to put any one of this legend, but it's okay. We can set it manually right here in our layout window, right? Set the content fit with content. Set the window fit into the content, and then to provide legend, another legend, right? From our Discover tools here, we can go to Frame tool and put it somewhere here, right? Okay, then can adjust the size there, for example. Change the map zooming into 2 maybe to resize map size. Anyway, I'm gonna move this one for this time. Can create a map title, geological map of a type of a Alberta mining tiger of company, right? Can set more option for your map by clicking and drag it. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.